few weeks back, I asked you on my Instagram, what are some good habits that you would like to build? You all gave me a lot of awesome answers, and as I started to read through them, I realized that I just have too much to share on each of these topics, and there was no way that I was gonna cover everything in one video. So the Building Good Habits series begins. In episode 1, we're gonna talk about productivity through exhaustion. So submitted by someone who would like to stay anonymous. I'm choosing the topic of being productive through exhaustion or burnout because last Sunday, I actually faced something very similar myself. I had a to-do list that was packed with activities, and I thought there was no way that I would finish everything in time. Oh, I should probably improve the lighting. Is that better? I hope so. In today's video, I want to introduce to you the 4-step process that I used to overcome burnout and regain the vigor and motivation, as well as still get done the things I needed to get done. Sound interesting? Stay tuned. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. For those of you who are new here, my name is David Liu. I'm an incoming student at Western University. So our 4-step process, the first step is the most important, and it's using a tool called the Eisenhower Matrix. So the Eisenhower Matrix is basically when you organize your to-do list into 4 categories. First is important and urgent. The second is important and not urgent. The third is not important and urgent. And the fourth is both not important and not urgent. For our first category, important and urgent, the whole idea is to do this now or do this before the deadline because it's urgent. If a task is important but not urgent, not something you immediately have to do, schedule it for a future date, but make sure it gets done because it's important. The third category is not important and urgent, and the whole idea is to delegate these tasks if possible. So hand them off to someone else. Fourth category is both not important and not urgent, and the whole idea is to eliminate these tasks if possible. Okay, so this was my to-do list last Sunday, and just to give some context, I color code my to-do list based on the category of it. So green is for work, purple is for school, orange is personal. So for the mug project, I promised my boss that I would get it done on the Sunday. So that was both important because performing well on the job is important to me, and it was urgent too because the deadline was at the end of the day. For downloading all the Adobe softwares that I'll need throughout the internship, so that was important, but it was not urgent because I still had 2 weeks until I was going to use the Adobe softwares. With the lab safety training, it is definitely important because I want to perform well. Although it's not urgent, the lab manager did say to just do it whenever I had time, but I also wanted to leave a good impression, and I still wanted to do it as quickly as possible. So for me, it was important and it was urgent as well because I wanted to get it done fast. In terms of organizing my topics forest, that is important. I wanted to have this topics database that I could use. However, it's definitely not urgent. I can do it next week, I can do it a year later. So it's important, but it's not urgent. So this is actually an idea I got from a podcast I was listening to, Not Overthinking. Highly recommend. I think I've mentioned it before. So the whole idea of a topics forest is to have a place to store all of the information that you learn and thoughts that you have. I have many different subsections like learning, relationships, social values, mindset, skills. So say when I'm 30 years old and a decade down the road, I still have access to all this information that I've learned and picked up over the years. And I think it'd be pretty cool that once I'm like 80 years old to look back onto how my thought processes have changed and maybe even to pass this on to my kids or grandkids. So they now have this system of knowledge and wisdom that I've picked up over my 80 years on this earth. In terms of vacuuming, we actually vacuumed just 1 week or 2 weekends ago. It is both not important because we just vacuumed, and it's not urgent because I just don't have to do it. There is no deadline for it. So I can keep it under this category. If you recall from previously, if something is not important and not urgent, the whole idea is, can we eliminate this? And for vacuuming, yeah, I can eliminate this. For filming the YouTube video of the week, yeah, like I don't have to get this done. For using intentional relationships, yeah, probably not gonna maintain it long term. So can I eliminate it? Definitely. And lastly, finding a better organization system for Finder. I think my current organization system is fine. Sure, it might be like a little bit better if I spend the extra time to find a better organization system, but it's not worth it. It's not important. Can I eliminate it? Yes. If I look at all these topics above that I classified as important, if I ask myself, can I eliminate this? The answer is no. Can I eliminate topics for us? No. I want to have this system in place for the rest of my life. So you can see how by organizing my tasks, I basically halved my to-do list, because for all the things that are not important and not urgent, I just deleted them. Not even strike through, not even archived, just straight up deleted them, get them out of my head. Now we can see the power of the Eisenhower Matrix, because the only tasks that we need to get done are those that are both important and urgent. So I had to finish 3 things. The mug project, lab safety training, and freeing up iPhone storage. The mug project takes maybe an hour, lab safety training maybe 2 hours, and freeing up iPhone storage like 10 minutes. So that's like around 3 or 3.5 hours of work for the whole Sunday. And just breaking it down that way becomes so much more manageable. So I only have this much tasks. I banged my arm against the desk. So I only have this many tasks that I actually have to get done. That is step 1, using the Eisenhower Matrix. Step 2, for when you're feeling burnt out or overwhelmed, is to just block out 1 to 2 hours of time to relax. You're feeling burnt out, you're not gonna get productive work done. Realize that you really don't have that much stuff to do. There were those 2 or 3 things that I actually had to get done. So I can take this time to relax. Usually I spend my 1 to 2 hours reading and do something that will genuinely refresh you. So I think we can all agree that scrolling through TikTok, sure, it might feel good in the moment, but it's not refreshing. After a TikTok break, it doesn't feel good afterwards. That's not what we want to do with that 1 to 2 hours of time. Read, go for a nice long walk, take a hot bath. Do something that will let your mind totally wind down and relax. So step 3 is after you finish your 1 to 2 hour break, and then after you've gotten your important and urgent work done of the day. At this point, it's time to address those items that were important but not urgent. So for me, that was downloading the Adobe software, Topics Forest, and meeting with Tim. At this point, we can either choose to do those things now or to schedule them for a future date. Because by realizing that I really only had to do this much, that work only brought me until like 2 or 3 p.m. And I didn't feel overwhelmed while doing it because I broke down my to-do list. So for the rest of the day, I actually wanted to both download the Adobe software and to organize my Topics Forest. But if I didn't feel like doing it in the moment, say I was busy, say I really needed the break, then I would just schedule it for a future day. So I use time blocking to do this. I made a previous video on this. Say on Sunday, if I didn't want to do it, I could just time block that time, maybe on Tuesday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. And the 4th and final step of the process is to evaluate whether you are overcommitting your time 3 days in advance. I always want to be putting my health first. So if I feel overwhelmed at one point in time, I want to avoid this feeling in the future. So I will think back onto all the commitments that I'm involved in and reflect on whether this is too much. The reason I do this 3 days in advance is because I can still be in that overwhelmed, burnt out state on that day or on the day after. So I'll make an impartial judgment about whether I am or am not overcommitted. If I decide that I am overcommitted, then I will quit something, whether that's a job or a club. I also make it a rule to talk to my mom before I do anything impulsive or drastic. I have a big tendency to rush into things, and this brings up something that happened 2 weeks ago. So I was looking on YouTube, forgot what I was surfing through, but I saw a video on something called UX design and why that's like the perfect career or something. So I watched that video, and basically what UX designers do is they make the user experience of, say, scrolling through a website or interacting with a company online as smooth as possible. Did that make sense? It doesn't matter. The actual role of the job is besides the point. The thing is that I absolutely fell in love with that job at that point in time. So I think half an hour later, I ended up applying for an internship in UX design when I just heard about it half an hour ago. As I was talking to my mom later that night, she was talking some sense into me. And I think my mom actually knows me better than I know myself. And she was saying that she doesn't think I could do this as a long-term career. And I initially kind of pushed back against it because I was still in this excited state about this job. I just discovered it. Yeah, I want to spend the rest of my life doing this. But the next day, after I woke up and the excitement wore off, I realized that she was right. This is not something that I could see myself doing long term. So the point is, I'm very impulsive. So I make it a rule to reflect 3 days in advance. And I also make it a rule to talk to my mom. So that way, if I do decide to back out of a commitment, I'm not doing it impulsively. I'm actively deciding that this is what's best for me and my health and my emotional well-being. So that is my 4-step process to overcoming burnout and being productive through exhaustion. That video was awesome to make because I think this is such a powerful 4-step process, and I'm glad that I've shared it with you. I hope you found this video helpful or entertaining and that you enjoyed it and had a good time with me today. If you're still here at the end, you're a true fan. Thank you for sticking around. I'll see you in the next video. Peace. Bye.